this week on episode number 188 of the Convincing Idiots podcast. A TikTok ban is imminent in the U.S. We discuss Seinfeld thinks the left is killing comedy. Do we agree? We'll discuss in our Ask an Idiot segment. Quiet on the Set, crazy documentary making a lot of social media news. We'll talk about some of that. And in our main segment this evening, movies with best endings. Keep listening, keep watching, all the way to the end of our episode. And let's start the show.
You guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
Test.
What do you call it again?
Convincing Idiots.
Convincing Idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the stat man, not just anyone's opinion, the stat man Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got the whole poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Awesome.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter note,
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the vodcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean, the Zennial.
I'm Brian, Gen X.
And we're listening for... No. We don't have the millennial.
Hmm.
Well, he will be back next week, I promise. So all you Nicholas millennial fans, don't worry. He is having some testicular modifications done.
Mm-hmm.
It's they say it's going to go bigger.
Mm-hmm.
At least better.
Mm-hmm.
So until then, you just have Brian and I here for Convincing Idiots.
It's a reattachment, we understand, Dean.
Yeah, well, Robin has taken them off so many times and put them in her purse that, that it's necessary at this point.
Yeah, we had to get off, like, there was like a grafting of like Advil tablets and things in the purse, that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so have to have those removed and then reattached and so forth. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah.
Look for the future episode of if you were to carry a purse out of the three of us, what would you have in your purse?
I like that. Well, I'll do Nick's job here again and let you know what we are and where you can find us here. So we are...
You have to deepen up your voice so there it's not going to be a difference for next week because his voice is going to be considerably different.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right now we're sort of in the Bobby Brady of the Brady Bunch sounding now.
Breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Next week we'll get the Greg Brady sound, perhaps. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. So we are Convincing Idiots. We're a podcast of three friends, normally, from three generations, talking all things nerd and pop culture, whatever we wish to talk about on those subjects. That's what we're going to bring you each and every week. Most weeks, I should say.
Most weeks,
exactly right. So you might be listening to us right now. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we found on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, etc. So wherever you listen to podcasts, simply look us up on the platform. Is look for Convincing Idiots and give us a free follow or subscribe. Rate, review if you're on the Apple Podcast. It helps others find the show.
Do all the good stuff.
Exactly right. You might be watching us on our YouTube channel at Convincing Idiots or our YouTube music channel. If you don't know how to find all that stuff, you can find us at two main places. Our Linktree page is simply Google Linktree Convincing Idiots. and be links to all of our social media accounts. We're on all major platforms out there, so find the links there. And if you go to one place, go to our website, convincingidiots.wordpress.com. All show information is there. Links to new episodes, videos, bios, our ways to sponsor the show. Our T Public store, Dean, is there.
Look at this. Look at this. I have a tank top right now of the three of us walking towards nuclear annihilation.
That's right. That's right. And that size.
And you can own this as well.
That's right. That size there is a 10X, ladies and gentlemen. It fits great. No, but the design.
That's a little snug. I should do a sit-up.
No, the design looks good. It's high quality there. We've used them several times over the years on personally, and we felt great to put our stuff out there. So yeah, find us there. Even if you use the link to our TeePublic store and buy a shirt from another talented artist out there, we will still benefit. So go check that out. So that's it, Dean. I know we saw each
Brian,
other even earlier this evening, but go ahead, please. Go ahead.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to, can I piggyback on your intro
Please,
here?
go right ahead.
I would like to speak to all of these people that, like me, that there's certain nights that you're flipping through, going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, maybe on your TV, and you fall asleep on the couch.
Sure.
Maybe it's on your TV, maybe it's on your phone, and you're listening to something on the couch, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and it's gone to the next thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're listening to this, and this is the part you're listening to when you wake up. First of all, I apologize.
Right.
It must be scary. Second of all, grab your phone, grab your remote, like that shit.
Yes.
Subscribe to this, because what woke you up, you're going to get all of that and so much more going forward. So I want to talk to those people. That's all.
There you go. There you go. Normally, the only people that wake up to us when we're trying to do something interesting and passionate is our lovely ladies, Dean. Yeah.
And Nick's mom. Yes, correct. Correct. That is absolutely.
Who, by the
correct.
way, let's just pause there for a second. Who just celebrated
Yes,
a birthday
absolutely. We need to do
recently?
this.
So the beautiful Jennifer, Nick's
Jen.
mom. Yes, go ahead, please.
I was going to say the same thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, happy birthday, you beautiful, beautiful soul.
That's right.
And I'll be over later.
So, Dean, what's new with you, sir? How you been? We were off last week. We took a break last week.
We were off last
Schedules
week.
were off a little bit. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. And just what's new with you, sir, over the last couple of weeks here?
Well, where do I mean, I can't go in order because I have to explain why I was off last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then, things got twisted. You realize you guys, don't have any humor in the show. So you guys have to take the week off. I get that. But for me, why I was off last week is I took, or for Megan's birthday, my lovely girlfriend, earlier in the month, I bought her tickets to a play, to a theater show of Clue. Mm-hmm. On stage, and this Thursday or last Thursday was when it was being performed, and we went there. Dude, I tell you what, if you're a fan of the movie, they followed the movie quite well, quite along to the T. There was some changes, but like welcome changes. Okay. They made some jokes that made sense for stage, but not movie. Some of the characters the actors played it obviously different than the movie characters or actors would have, but they did so good. Like I have yet to be to a play. If you're watching a play and whatever joke's being told, you're like, that's good. I actually was like laughing out loud watching this. It was really, really good. So if in your area Clue is playing on stage, go for it, man. It was so good. Megan and I had a really, really good time watching Clue on stage. It was at E.J. Thomas Hall here in the Akron area. But that is why I wasn't here last week.
Now, did they have like a whole build-up? You had to try to guess who did it and the whole thing, just like sort of like a movie sort of, or not really?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was more. It's hard for me to say because like I had seen the movie and the way they were going about the story, I could see they were doing the movie. That kind of style and that story. Okay. So I knew where they were going. It would have been cool to like done something where like I could have tried to guess. And I don't know if you hadn't seen the movie, you were doing the same thing and you were thinking, who did it? How is this done? But for me, I'm just watching along, just so happy. They did some lines that were like, me and Robin, my sister Nick's wife, loved that movie Clue, and like there's just a certain line Madeline Kahn does. And she's talking about how her ex-husband infuriated her and made her mad, and it's I can't even do justice, but she's talking about the flame, the flames on the side of her face being so when she was so angry. And the way Madeline Kahn does it is just so hilarious. And Rob and I have done it for fucking 30 years after watching the movie. Still do that line. And they did it. And like I did the applause, the applause break for it because like that's awesome. That they realized that like certain little jokes of the movie were so appreciative that they added them. Man, it was so good. It was a lot of fun.
Very good. That's a movie that's like there's not a lot of in between. That's a movie. It seems like either people really love that movie or just really don't quite get it. I'm sort of in the don't quite get it camp, but I haven't seen that in many years. But there's many people like you that's one of their favorite movies.
Give it a shot.
Okay, I'll rewatch it
because
a lot of comedy people, a lot of comedy geniuses in that movie for sure.
Dude, the cast is amazing. Yeah. But one of the brilliance of the movie is when it first came out in theaters across the country, there were like 4 endings. One on the West Coast, one in the center, one on the East Coast.
Very clever.
But then on the HBO which where I saw it, they do the whole movie. They do the ending, and then they put like a flashcard of that's how it could have happened. And then they show you 4 different endings until the ending, and this is how it really happened. And they did that in the play. They did a whole rewind thing with the actors. It was really funny.
Very cool.
Especially after the 4th one, it showed the actors being annoyed by doing it. It was, again, so well done. Very good. As of now, I mean, I've been out to see many plays, and I want to see a lot more. I've seen musicals and plays, but this, honestly, hands down, is my favorite so far.
Very good. Excellent. What else?
All right. Oh, I want to tell you about, first of all, let me give you props, Brian, to Files of the Unexplained.
Okay.
That you've been touting for the past few weeks. Very good. It's fun to think that, like, I am such a paranormal fan that a lot of the stories that were on these I've seen and heard before. Okay. But I can understand, like, somebody that hasn't. These are amazing and terrific. But the way they've done them, they did give you different aspects that I hadn't heard. So it wasn't a total, like, oh, I've seen this before. They totally did give you new stuff and different interviews that you'd never heard. So very cool show. Was on Netflix. Definitely recommend that. Files of the Unexplained. Now let's go into what would have been my main event 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I finally watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, jeez.
Brian, you've made those inferences and comments up until now when we brought it up, and when I've always told you, oh, I'm going to watch it, and you've done the same thing. Brian, you out of everybody will fucking love it. You need to see it. Okay. It is such a throwback to 80s slasher films.
Okay.
The kill scenes are imaginative. Like, they're very cool. They're very graphic. You got to take away the plot. The plot is what it is. The plot is Winnie the Pooh. It starts by telling you like a written book story of that Christopher Robin had befriended these bear, Piglet, Eeyore in the 100-acre woods, and that he thought they were animals, but they were really hybrids. He didn't realize. And then when he went off to college, they got mad that they left him because like he would always bring them food, and they got hungry. They got mad. Things had to happen. And now they're on a spree, and people go missing. And dude, take away the idea that they're making this Winnie the Pooh thing. Dude, just take it as a 80s slasher film, and enjoy the fuck out of it. Okay, you need to watch it.
Okay, all right.
Make that a porch movie, brother.
Okay,
you will not be disappointed. Just go into it realizing what it is. That is just it is 1980s slasher film porn. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, they're giving you just imaginative ways for a maniac to kill a hot girl.
And that's what most of those movies were. Exactly right.
Yep. So if you enjoy that, watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Okay, very cool. All right. Other than continued on Stranger Things, we are on the 4th season. We want to slow down so we can. Next year they're going to have the 5th season, I guess. So, enjoying the hell out of that. So
is this the 4th season's the one with that's the last season, right? Before,
yes.
Okay,
yes,
that's a good one. You'll like the build up and the climax. Everything's very good in that one.
The first 2 episodes, man, I did not dig. I'm like, oh no,
the kid.
They jumped the shark.
No, the kid Eddie. Well, I think it was Eddie, the metal kid. Yeah. So it's good stuff.
I'm not.
Just let it play
as much as everybody's been talking about him. He's not my favorite character.
Yeah, just let it all play out. Okay. I'm interested to see what you think when you get to the end of it. Okay.
Because Megan and I were talking, and like a lot of guys like to think, "Oh, I'm Hopper." No, I'm the. What's the the guy that helps her? What's his name? The bearded Jewish guy that helps her.
I don't remember now.
I'm that guy. Okay, like I'm the spitting image of that guy. Yeah, but he does know karate, and he did kick that guy's ass in the plane. So
that's right. Yep, good stuff.
So. Brian, that's everything I've seen. What I can remember, and I've talked way too long.
No, so. You're good.
What about you?
Well, first of all, what's new with me? Last weekend, we were shooting this on what the hell is today? Thursday, May 2nd. So last weekend we went to Youngstown, and this is one of my Christmas gifts from my lovely girlfriend Allie. She got us tickets to go see Judas Priest in Youngstown at the Cavelli Center, so in a hotel room for the evening. So just a great time. The weather was good. Well, in Youngstown from here, again, we're in the Akron, Barberton area. It's less than an hour away from here.
Outside, but it was hot in that room.
That's right. Went out there, hung out a couple places, went out to a nice dinner, went to the show. Everything was in walking distance purposely per planning, so that was great. We just parked the car at the hotel and got to walk around, walk to the venue and everything. They had a music festival going on afterwards, so we checked that out for a little bit. Nice. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, just a great concert. I mean, if you're an old metal person like I am, it's a good show. You know, Rob Halford, the lead singer, sounded good. It was fun. Was there a little bit of back vocals, maybe a little bit backtracking, maybe just a touch and all that, but not too much here. I think most of the show was his live vocals, but still one of the greatest rock singers of all time, in my opinion. If you have a Mount Rushmore of rock singers or hard rock singers, at the very least, Rob Halford's going to be on that list without question.
I think you just named one of our future main event episodes.
I like that. Yeah, we'll definitely do that for sure.
Yeah.
And
Write that down.
Youngstown's nice. You know, we need to go there more often. A nice park system, a couple breweries and wineries and different things out that way. So just a lot of fun. So that was the main thing. I mean, I'll add here too. I know you've had to go through this, Dean. So this was the first time that I personally, I've had pets growing up. Growing up as a kid, we always, at my parents' house, we always had a cat and a dog. Always. My entire life. As long as I can recall, at my parents' house, we had at least one cat, one dog my entire time. So when I moved out of the house, I got my place here. I've been here now 20 plus years. I had two cats at one point and a dog. This is the first time though. I had a prior cat. She literally ran out of the house and disappeared and never and that was it. So I'm sure she ran off, and cats will do that. They'll run off and pass away. This is the first time I had to take an animal to be put to sleep. I know you've been through that. So just tough.
Yep.
My handsome cat, Eclipse, he was a very handsome black cat, super nice cat, good buddy, super nice to the dog. Just those two were such good pals and everything. So 14 years old, and just very quickly, sudden illness and just things happened very quickly. So that's a bummer. So if you had to go through it out there, I feel for you. It's a very, very, it's the worst, certainly by far, the worst experience of having a pet to have to go through that. So if you've been through it, bless you. I definitely understand your pain. If you haven't gone through it, I mean, you will someday, unfortunately, and just enjoy your time with your pets and everything. So that was it. So that was kind of a bummer, but overall, things good. Allie was there with me the whole time and everything, so we got through it together, and it was. I
definitely want to say that I'm sorry to hear about the cat there, but
thank you very much.
That's definitely rough.
Yes, indeed. As far as new things I've watched, I finished the Shogun series on Hulu. Man, I'll tell you what, it's like 10 episodes. I know I've talked about it throughout. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but the finale definitely left you thinking a bit. But as I've said before, the acting, how it's shot, the costumes, the culture, it really puts you back into a different time of Japan. To really just just watch it. If you have any interest at all in Japanese culture, etc., you'll definitely enjoy this series. And as I've said before, there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be up for probably several Emmys when it comes around here. So check out Shogun. It's an FX series, but you can find it on FX or Hulu streaming. And Fallout, Dean. Now, this is a newer series on Prime.
I've been hearing about this.
Yes, all episodes dropped. I did watch the whole season. I'm not familiar with the video game, but it's based on a video game series. Apparently, I could sort of see it as you're watching it. You can sort of envision the different levels that you might play through in the TV series. But fantastic! Just again, beautifully shot, interesting story. Walter Goggins, I know Nick has talked about him. He's on several different things. That dude, man.
Yeah, Righteous Gems. Righteous Gemstones.
One of Nick's favorite characters on that.
I remember seeing that dude all throughout the 90s and like so many different things as a character actor.
Yeah.
That dude's great.
Awesome. He plays like a zombie cowboy type character in this. They're called ghouls in this. Just very interesting. It takes place in a apocalyptic world. So the premise is it's the 1960s, I think it is, and nuclear war happens. Meanwhile, they've built these vaults, which are underground bunkers, basically, where various privileged people have moved into. So you have sort of the surface dwellers and the vault dwellers, and things sort of collide, if you will. So you kind of learn about how do people get in the vaults, what's going on the surface. There's a whole storyline there in the middle of it. So very intriguing, fun. It's cartoonish type violence and things, but check out.
Is it more comedy or more drama?
More drama, but definitely some dark comedy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a comedy. I would not categorize it as comedy. It's more of a dark comedy at best. Okay, so, but if you like that sort of thing, that weird, apocalyptic, cartoonish, odd characters, all that, check it out for sure. Right, and they set it up to where they could either end it or they could have other seasons. I'd be surprised, frankly, if it didn't have other seasons of Fallout on Amazon Prime. So check that out. That's it. That's kind of what. And by the way, I keep working through Schitt's Creek. I should say that too. I've been working through that series. I'm at the final season now. It's all on Hulu. Just fantastic. Fantastic. If that's a series that you haven't picked up yet, or maybe you picked it up and fell off it, just keep watching it, man. Just it's not unlike Seinfeld in the sense for me where every single episode is solidly written and acted. Everyone has a good story. Everyone makes me laugh in some way, at some point throughout the episode. 20-some minutes each episode. So easy to sit down and watch one or two quickly, easily. Very, very good if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek on Hulu. That's it.
All right. Very good. That's very good.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to take a short break and come back with some pop culture headlines and our Ask an Idiot segment. Speaking of Seinfeld, he may tie into our Ask an Idiot segment coming up after the break. All right, welcome back to Convincing Idiots, segment 2. Yes, sir. Pop culture headlines. TikTok. Now, we're on TikTok. We've talked recently about a potential ban in the United States that's got a lot of folks concerned. If you're especially if you're a TikTok influencer, you're a person that's making money off of TikTok. Yeah. Like with us, we have a TikTok channel, Convincing Idiots, making all of our house payments and a retirement fund, actually. So we're a bit concerned. We're a bit concerned, certainly. Go ahead.
He's making a joke. Please give us all the money you can, because we're very, very poor. Geez. Please help us. Please. I just thought I'd give you an ad. Go ahead.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Awesome. So a bill was being introduced in is it Congress? Yes. Congress. Right? Recently, people were speculating, is this really going to pass or what's going on, whatever. So,
technically Congress, but
it did pass. So, President Biden just signed it recently. So basically, what it's saying is that the parent company of TikTok has so much time basically to sell the company, sell their portion of the company. So it's ByteDance, BYT Dance. So they have 270 days to sell TikTok. So it's ByteDance is a Chinese organization.
Sure.
Right? So the arguments are from why are we doing this? Well, the U.S. Government is concerned that the company is a Chinese-owned organization, and folks that sign up to use the service, their information, it's a couple things. So their information is at risk of being shared with the Chinese government, but they're also concerned that the Chinese government is using the platform to influence various things that they want, right? So they could maybe use the platform to influence elections and different things where, there's really no control over that. So the owners of the company are basically saying, hey, listen, the corporate headquarters is over here in the US, and we're not using the information and this and that and the other. But their arguments are rather vague as far as trying to defend all the concerns, basically. So that's where it is. So if, so people wonder, well, how the hell how can you ban an app? What can you do? Well, what they could do is they could take down the app on all the app stores and basically cut off the usage. So if you're using the app and if it's taken down everywhere, then frankly, you just won't have access to it, right? And in China, apparently as well, there are certain apps that locals over there that we own, like Facebook, except they may not have access to over there, at least not freely anyway. So it does kind of work both ways a bit here. So at the moment, there's a lot of people up in arms and saying, I make money off of this app. I advertise my business here. It's a way to reach people, et cetera, et cetera. And TikTok is certainly trying to promote its active users and influencers to lobby against the banning of it. But the way it looks right now, man, that they're going to have to do something, that the U.S. government's probably not going to cave on this. And very realistically, we might see a ban of TikTok. So, Dean, what do you think? Are you concerned about the app? Does the U.S. government have a legitimate concern, or what are your thoughts on all this?
Brian, you listen to me. Let me tell you something. All right. All these people trying to steal the TikTok away from the Chinesian people, it's just wrong. It is unlawful, undreadful, unemasculative. Let me tell you this. I use TikTok just like you do. I wake up in the morning and I look up. I go to myself. I say, self, how do you dance today? And I go to the TikTok and I say, the TikTok, you tell me how to dance. And the TikTok tells me how to dance. Government, Joe Biden, are you going to tell me how to dance? No, until you are, let me have my TikTok. You don't worry about the Chinesian. The Chinesians are going to do what the Chinesians are going to do. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me what the Chinesians are going to steal or take from me. I got this. I'm American. I know more than you do. Trust me. I know what the Chinesians are going to do or ain't they going to do. And they're not going to steal my information. Come on. What are you going to do? You're going to take all my debt? Oh no, Chinesians, don't take my debt. Joe Biden, you stay with my TikTok. I want to dance. Just because you too old to dance, don't make you not me want to dance. Damn you. Okay.
All right.
So
That was the if you ordered. I would like to have a Jackie Childs impersonation. I'm ordering it on Wish. That's what you get, ladies and gentlemen.
but hell, I'll take that compliment all day. No, fuck, man. I understand completely where the government is coming from. The Chinese government is different, right? They are able to tell these businesses. At least this is my understanding. I'm an idiot. This is what you're listening to. I'm an idiot, so I could be way off it. But from my understanding, the Chinese government is able to tell these different businesses what to do and whatnot, and they have control, right? So I get on our government side of being fearful of stealing our citizens' information because we willy-nilly, how many of us go, yep, click, accept, sure, why not knowing what app you've downloaded or listened to.
That's part of the case, what you said, by the way, too. So that is part of the case that it mentioned, is that the Chinese government can influence, they can censor certain content. So that's part of the concern as well,
sure.
Right? So
they have control.
That's exactly right. There's
it's
a whole
not
analysis.
A private, so to speak, company.
Exactly. So there's these whole analytics on certain hashtags. Now, if you use a hashtag, now just again, you could post content without a hashtag. Doesn't mean the content doesn't exist at all, certainly, but there's analytics on certain hashtags out there, and that is one of the cases as well. That it doesn't seem like certain topics that you might think might be more prevalent in the U.S. are not there. So it smells like additional censorship, like you're saying, from the Chinese government influence. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so to continue, I also understand the flip side of the coin, Brian. I get the idea that there's a lot of people that make their money through this.
Sure.
And these people, what I'm not judging. I was doing a bit earlier, but I honestly don't care or don't judge about people and what they do and how they make their money. Mm-hmm. But they are making their money through this. So I get their plight. I get how fucking awful it is to, like, one day wake up and go, you know what? It's just not going to be here. There's your whatever X amount of money income gone. That sucks. There needs to be a middle. Like most things, fuck, these days, man. You see the left, you see the right, you see the good, you see the bad, and everybody picks a side and runs to it with a goddamn sword. And nobody stops to think and goes, there has to be a middle. There has to be an in-between on what you say and what I say. And in this is the same, Brian. That there has to be I'm not a smart man, so I don't know what the fucking middle is. I just know there has to be one in order to get this done. Because taking it away completely for like that is not the answer. But letting it continue and letting maybe a not good entity come in and steal people's information and do corrupt things, not good either.
Great.
So there has to be a middle. Do I have the answer? No. But that's the way I see it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a tough one. It's like the U.S. government may argue and say, we're trying to give you a middle where we want at least the U.S. usage sold to a different entity that we feel comfortable with.
Sure. That
we feel comfortable is not going to use U.S. citizen information. It's not going to censor certain topics. It's not going to put out. There's people in the U.S. certainly is putting out plenty of negative propaganda and conspiracy theories and all that crap, as we know, that's going to influence, elections and whatever. We don't need additional help from other foreign entities doing that type of stuff, and they'll do it anyway. Honestly, I mean, if you sell the company to a U.S. based entity, there's going to be people out there certainly that's going to create a profile and still put shit out there. You're going to have a lot of tight, and as we already know, there's really very loose, if any, regulations at all with social media platforms. That's a whole other topic, right? So at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to stop stuff that people want to put into people's feeds and shit like that, right? So, but you should not be able to censor it. That's the thing. You should not be able to. I mean,
Right.
Obviously, there's certain material that that should be censored on any platform. Obviously, when you get into very graphic things and so forth, but so that's a slippery slope to get into. And then when you talk about banning stuff as a U.S. citizen who's like not really understanding a whole bunch, if you just hear the fact that the U.S. government is trying to ban something.
Yeah, you can't.
That gets really.
You can't mix that up with like the First Amendment, right?
Right. Right.
Because it's technically not the same. We all should have the right to say what we want to. We all should have freedom of speech, but we all also should be protected from foreign entities, near and far, so to speak. Right.
That's right.
I know I don't have a bear in this fight.
Throwback.
Yep, thank you. Go on our TeePublic to get that T-shirt. Mm-hmm. But I don't have a bear in this fight because I don't use TikTok, so I don't have that argument. Mm-hmm. But also, I only take my everything I do in my life. I only take reputable sources and strong character-willed people like Aaron Blake. Because what I do in my life, I go to Aaron Blake with Blake Insurance. Do you know about him? Well, let me tell you. Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located right here in Barberton, Ohio. They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability. Let me tell you, Brian, Erie Insurance is above all else in service. So not just you, Brian, I'm going to tell this to the listeners. I'm going to let all of them enjoy the savings that I have. You want to call 234-571-5359. Or you can, if you don't want to call, visit the website, BlakeInsuranceLLC.com for your free. I know, I get it. Nothing's free today. This is, ladies and gentlemen, your free 5-minute quote on what you can save with your auto, home, or renter's insurance today. And when you do, tell Aaron, dude, Dean hadn't heard from you in a while. You want to give him a call? Maybe shoot him a text. And, tell him that the idiot sent you.
Excellent. So, not surprisingly, Dean, in the wake of the troubles that TikTok is having, other companies are smelling a little bit of blood here and getting ready in case TikTok happens to be banned. So Instagram and Twitch are rolling out new TikTok-like short-form video features. So Instagram announced a tweak, in its discovery algorithm that would amplify smaller creators through recommendations, and Twitch announced the launch of its discovery feed through a new tab on its mobile app. So the companies are getting ready just in case, TikTok. So they're setting up a forum to encourage. It's not just in creators.
Case. They're looking to, take a bite out of that market.
Of course. So they're probably already doing it anyway, certainly, before all this happened. But no question, they're probably going to, I would imagine, try to accelerate the development and a launch of this these additional features on their apps to try to capture those that are creating this content then move it over to these other platforms if they're not already there, to get those viewers that might be looking for something else anyway, or certainly as TikTok might very well be banned. So interesting. I don't know if you want to comment at all, but it is interesting to see. Not a shock, but certainly something you would expect, and probably other apps as well will be looking for an opportunity to sort of cash in on the views and to encourage creators to put stuff on their apps as well. So,
I mean, when you see it coming, I mean, it would just be dumb for any of them not to do anything like that. You can't blame them. It's a good business model.
mm-hmm.
Will it be the same? Probably not. Everybody's, you can't directly steal from, from that, company. So it's going to be similar. But if it goes away, everybody's going to have something negative to say about who takes its place, because nothing can be the exact same.
That's right. That's right.
When I leave this podcast,
mm-hmm.
all of you are going to have, your little selfish tidbits to say about the chimpanzee they're going to have to replace me, but he'll be fine. It's just
mm-hmm.
going to be slightly different.
That's right. It'll be an AI chimpanzee to boot.
Oh, I can't wait. I'll watch that.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
Just interrupts every 45 to 48 seconds, Yep.
At least it'll be consistent.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, I mean, again, as I mentioned earlier, TikTok is funding our retirement funds. I did mention a Convincing Idiots estate in Costa Rica, which is pretty cool. So
that nudist colony. You found that property there. That was good of you.
That's right. Good news, bad news. It's 70 years and up. That we get, but that's okay.
So only one of the three of us are going to be able to go there.
So if another platform has to fund all that stuff, we're fine with that. We'll just shift our content elsewhere. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
that'll be
fine.
Yeah, we have several vying for our content as it is.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's right. Just like tonight's episode is gold. Video, audio, gold.
That's right.
We know. So we'll put it on TikTok. We'll put it on Twitch. We'll put it on Insta. Whatever. We're fine with that. So we're not. We're not. That's right. We're not married to TikTok.
Mm-mm.
Well, one thing I know you've been watching a little bit, Dean. I haven't seen this yet, but I guess it's not an easy watch. But Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV is a documentary talking about. Was it Nickelodeon?
Nickelodeon, and the probably early to mid 90s, maybe in the late 90s.
Yeah, go ahead.
Regardless of timeline, there were some of there were certain actors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe I shouldn't use that term because there's actually actors but certain people
mm-hmm.
that were doing horrible things to these kids.
Mm-hmm.
But they portrayed it, not only these guys doing sexually awful things to these kids, but also some of these people that necessarily weren't molesting kids, but putting them in really shitty situations, putting them in really awful situations that made everybody uncomfortable, and misogynistic ideas that everybody went through. It does not paint a good light on anybody in Nickelodeon.
No,
especially that time period.
Yeah, very real testimonies. There was it Drake from Drake and Josh? Was that the kid that was out there?
Yeah.
Dan Schneider
Yep.
Now, an actor in his own right, but
He was in the TV show Head of the Class
that's right.
in the 1980s.
Howard Hesseman and
Yep.
all that, right? Okay. So he's filed a defamation lawsuit against the producers of Investigation Discovery docuseries. So that's it. So I guess we'll see how all this plays out here. So he's basically saying that he was, basically railroaded, and it's not true. And he's really put out there as a very bad person in so many words. But
Dan
he's
Schneider,
claiming it's not true. Go ahead.
they put out a lot of stuff about Dan Schneider in that documentary that were not flattering. They made him look like a creep, misogynistic, not just towards the kids, but like towards females that worked for him and under him. And then they did a good chunk of that documentary about that, and then they kind of moved on to the predators that also worked for Nickelodeon. But Dan Schneider 100% did not come out well in this. We can only go with what we've seen in this documentary. What I saw in the documentary was abhorrent and disgusting on every level. I couldn't imagine why anybody would want their child to be, or let their child to be, an actor or an actress. Is insane, Brian. It's just disgusting. But also know, and may I play devil's advocate real quick? Also know that you are watching a produced TV show or movie. You are watching something that is done in the vein of ratings, money, yada yada. People have an agenda when they put a TV show or a movie together. Hell, Brian, when we do this podcast, we have an agenda. It's to tell shitty jokes and not make people laugh. We do a very good job at our agenda.
Yes,
and
that's
so
right.
do these documentary things. I love documentaries about many different subjects. But I also know when I'm being shown a documentary that there is an agenda by the person creating it. I recently seen an interview with Mark Summers, who was the host of Double Dare, producer, Nickelodeon, different things like that. And he had said that he was wrongfully or misled going into this interview. That he was not told that it was going to be this awful thing, that what these predators did to these kids. He was told that it was going to be about Nickelodeon and the 90s and yada yada, and he was happy to do it. And he told his side of the he told his side of the happy Nickelodeon, and then they started hitting him with these questions about these predators, and he's like, well, I don't know these people, I didn't work with these people. And that they took all that and edited it to where it didn't seem like that. He said, he's like, I stood up and left. He goes, because I had nothing to say. I didn't work with anybody that they were talking about. I was led under false pretenses to get here. So I'm done. I have nothing else to say. I told you my good stuff and that's all I have is the good stuff. Again, that's Mark Summers, story. So who are we to know what's the truth and what's? I don't know, Brian. I know that by the court of law, there were children that were sexually abused, and that's what we need to look at and how awful and shitty that was.
Yeah.
I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but I don't want to come off as apologetic for that activity. right?
Oh no, yeah, not at all. Yeah, yes, you're right.
What those guys did, and I'm glad that guy's in jail and these fucking monsters touching kids. I don't know what the temperature should be of the hot poker shoved in their asses, but I know it should be super hot.
Sure.
But other than that, I everything that everybody else said in that documentary was shitty about Dan Snyder.
Hmm. His take basically is, listen, I'm not saying I was a good boss, that I wasn't, good to people, but I was not involved in these terrible acts, basically, and you kind of made it look like I was, and that's the thing. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. So
right,
yeah, you're right. To your point, bad things happen. That's the story that should be told, and hopefully, the producers of the documentary did not purposely portray anybody as being involved that was not.
Fuck Dan Snyder.
That's right. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. So if anybody purposely portrayed anybody from doing things or being involved in things that they weren't, then certainly whatever legal repercussions should happen there should happen. But I guess we'll see. It is a terrible, fascinating thing to sort of keep an eye on here. And at the end of the day, certainly you feel bad for the victims, and if getting the story out there gives them some closure and comfort. Again, this Drake kid, I saw some of it at your house. It's like, man, it's very bold to be able to sit down and tell the story and get it out there to the world. So good for the victims to talk about it. Hopefully it brings them some closure and everything else. So, all right, so today is Thursday, May the 2nd, as we said before. So tomorrow, big movie drops on Netflix, Unfrosted. Now this looks very good. This is a new Jerry Seinfeld led production, and we talked about this a little bit previously. But this thing, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to this. It looks good. There's tons of comedians in this thing.
What day does it drop?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow, May 3rd. So definitely will be a weekend view for me, for sure. It's a whole parody on Pop-Tarts. So basically, it's a play on the I think it's the 1950s or 60s, I think 60s set, where Post cereal and Kellogg cereal were trying to create some type of a breakfast pastry. That was the thing. And Post was developing something, and Kellogg's had to get something developed. And in reality, that did happen. So Post had this breakfast toaster pastry of some sort, and Kellogg's, of course, developed the Pop-Tart, which certainly blew up and became it's still very prevalent today, very popular item, tons and tons of flavors. I certainly grew up with Pop-Tarts, and that was certainly a go-to for several reasons. So was a parody of like the space race between the United States and Russia. They kind of portray it that way. So it looks like a lot of fun. So first of all, I'm very interested in this thing. Looks great. So Jerry Seinfeld's been getting some added publicity out there. He's doing all the talk show circuits and everything right now. But one thing that's making some social media news, excuse me, is he said something along the lines, to paraphrase, that somebody asked him a question about comedy on television, right? His take basically is that the far left has helped kill comedy, right? So this is not a political discussion per se, but some of his commentary basically says that, in the past, you could come home, and this is more along sort of a quote that he said here, that, here it is right here. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, and most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, MASH is on, Mary Tyler Moore is on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff you could watch on TV. And, well, where is it? So he's basically saying that because people are more sensitive, more politically correct, on the far left is driving a lot of this activity, where jokes and things are being watered down, kind of killing comedy. You don't see as much comedy on television. And he's also referring back to some of the bits he had on prior Seinfeld episodes. Like there was an episode that he refers to where Kramer was pitching a business idea where the homeless people can pull rickshaws in the street because they're already outside, which is funny, right? But Jerry's saying you can't have a joke like that today on television because it would sort of get watered down and you wouldn't be able to do it because of people. So that's a lot there. So there's a lot to unpack in all his statements here. So getting into an Ask an Idiot topic here, Dean. So do you think, is Jerry right in any of his commentary, or has comedy been sort of watered down because of woke people or wokeness or the far left or otherwise, or no, and the fact that you don't see as much comedy on television, some people are saying in part that there's just so much shit out there anymore that people get their comedy and they sit down and enjoy different things in so many different mediums anymore, like convincing idiots on TikTok, perhaps. I don't know. So what are your thoughts about his comments about the far left killing comedy, Dean?
Okay. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Yes and no.
All right. Sure.
Let me start with real quick stating what you had, how you brought this in earlier, talking about the far left, far right. Did he say the words far left?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He said the far left is killing comedy.
In so many words, yes. Mm-hmm.
No.
He did use far left. He did use far left,
but
though.
Is the far left killing comedy? Did he use that phrase? Okay, it doesn't. It honestly,
it's a pretty close
grand
quote.
scheme of things.
Okay, pretty close quote.
So here's what it is, Brian. Is I have everything that I've done from on here to on Twitter to anything I've done where I've told stupid jokes, I have used the mantra, "That's not funny," is an opinion,
right?
Not a fact. With that said, he is right in the sense that there is certain things that went on in 80s and 90s TV shows that couldn't be done today, simply for the fact that we all realized how it sounds, the way it looks, and how wrong it is, right? Now, there's probably some things that he's talking about that could be done. Like, for example, the rickshaw thing. The rickshaw thing isn't bad because, like, what is funny about that is that it's explaining how wrong he is. It's explaining the absurdity in Kramer's idea that Asian people would, or homeless people would pull rickshaws, and how awful his idea is. It's not promoting the idea of, like, homeless people pulling rickshaws. So I think that he's a little off on the idea of saying everything, because there are certain things that, of course, would not fly and shouldn't fly, honestly. But there are a lot of things, like I've been watching a lot of Cheers lately. I'm watching a lot of things and I'm going, yeah, it's not great in 2024, but then I start watching more of it and going, oh, shit, they were ahead of their time, because, like, they're explaining things. If you sit back and look at the nuances, they're explaining things in these jokes. It's, okay, perfect example, right? Jojo Rabbit by Taika Waititi. Did you see it? I bought the DVD, Brian. I will let you watch it. That needs to be one of your next movies. All right?
Okay.
It is written and directed by Taika Waititi. It is about this boy in the 1940s who has an imaginary friend, and this imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler.
Right. Okay.
But Taika Waititi, who is Jewish, plays Adolf Hitler. He plays Adolf Hitler as a buffoon, but he's also playing Adolf Hitler in what the story is, an imaginary character. So it shows some horrific scenes of the time period, but it also gives like really, really insightful and funny jokes on both sides of like Hitler and the boy, throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm meaning by this is like there was a movie in the last 10 years about Adolf Hitler as an imaginary friend, but it was done so well and so clever, and the jokes hits in the right spots that nobody looked at it and gone, oh my God, they're making Adolf Hitler this, a kid's friend, and he's one of the main characters? How dare you? Anything's funny if done the right way. There are plenty of, like I said earlier, there are plenty of 80s and 90s TV shows where these jokes or these premises wouldn't work. But if you look closer at these 80s and 90s television shows, you will look at like the nuanced jokes that absolutely would, because they were done perfectly, that are timeless.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Jerry Seinfeld is a brilliant comedian, businessman, entrepreneur, all of that. He knows what he's talking about, and he is right. There's a lot of things that couldn't work, but I see a lot of TV shows that are funny today.
Sure.
Is it his kind of humor? Maybe not, but they definitely do work. One of the other things that you got to look at is you don't have the 4 networks.
That's a lot of people are saying as well. Exactly right. There's so much
You see a lot
content.
of really edgy shit on Netflix, comedy shit on Netflix.
Sure.
And Apple Plus TV. Look at Shrinking. Ted Lasso. It was a little wholesome, but still. Have you ever watched Shrinking on Apple TV?
Nope.
It's from the creators of Scrubs and Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, edgy as shit. Really fucking edgy. Like dark shit. And it works so well. I actually keep Apple TV only for, at this point, Shrinking.
Okay.
So, with that said, there's a lot of stuff that still can work and does, but there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't. We're in the 21st century. We have a lot more. We see a lot more different people. We have different values. A lot of us, not all of us, I guess. But with these values, we have to create different avenues of jokes.
Right.
You just can't, when we were kids, tell these ethnic jokes and just go, ha! If you're going to tell that ethnic joke, be smart and craft around it and make it an actual fucking joke and not just an insult.
Right. No, it's good. All good stuff. The quote, by the way, Dean, I found it here, is he said that this is a quote. This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. When you write a script,
which is partly true.
Sure. When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about the joke. Well, that's the end of your comedy. And he's right in that respect.
Sure.
If it does get watered down that way.
That's always been comedy. You look at the 1950s, Mary Tyler Moore probably had jokes that like ran through different people. You had a writing room. Mm-hmm. One person wrote the joke. Next person goes, oh, what if this? Next person goes, oh, how about this? The person goes, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like it went through a lot of people.
Sure.
It's just a different era of people.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, there's I mean, what you said there makes a lot of sense, and there's more than just 4 networks anymore. But there are and have been for many years edgy shows that are out there. It's been on the air for several years. You know, you mentioned Shrinking, South Park is another one that comes to mind. Family,
Right.
There's tons of stuff that's on network television and otherwise where they put stuff out there that definitely pushes the envelope of comedy. That definitely some people are going to be offended, and they don't care. They're going to
As they
push the
shouldn't.
envelope. They put it out there, and the networks, to their credit, air it anyway, knowing that some people might. It's just like, well, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you're probably not going to watch. And that's exactly what it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
the Seinfeld series, as we know. I mean, we know that Millennial Nick, has started to watch it and loves it, and it's out there. I guess that's part of the point too, where you could say, well, you
And Nick is
can't
a
show
very, very woke left wing fella.
that. Right, exactly. But some people, he says, well, you can't air that today. Well, great news. Your series is out there today. You can find
People
it
are
on
loving it.
Netflix. That's right. And you get a resurgence of these shows. All these shows that might be quote unquote offensive or whatever today, most of them you can find out there. And you have to, as you're saying, you have to appreciate the fact of the era in part that they were made. And you can say that about many movies, of course, many Movies and shows in general. But anyway, so it's a matter of opinion in many respects. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Is it watered down on network television? I don't know, but there's plenty of things out there and different platforms and streaming services, etc., that definitely are more edgy and pushing the envelope. So I don't think you can just cleanly state that it's the far left or PC where you can't at all have a forum to air jokes and things like that. You can. You certainly can somewhere, somehow, even if you put it out there on social media that's not censored at all in most respects. So that's it. So I don't know that I feel less about Seinfeld in general. I'm definitely going to watch this movie.
I will never
still enjoy
change
his work.
my opinion on Jerry Seinfeld. He's a comedic genius. He gave us,
That's right.
hands down, arguably one of the greatest television shows in history.
Absolutely.
Beautiful and hilarious stand-up. I'm never going to talk shit about Jerry Seinfeld. But also, ladies and gentlemen, he's a 70-year-old man.
Just turned 70. That's right. That's right. Keep that in mind as well.
He's
That's
got
right.
opinions.
Yep. All right. Well, Seinfeld has opinions, and we have a fact. Segment 2 is coming to an end. We're going to come back with segment 3, more movie-related topics this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, what is it? Is it to come back after the break?
Day 2, motherfucker.
And hey there! Welcome back to Convincing Idiots, segment number 3. Joining you from the winner's circle of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs.
You got both your balls?
I got both. I got some balls. I am Millennial Nick, alongside Gen X Brian, and of course the love child of Don Johnson and Walter Matthau, our Zennial Dean. That is right. So we are coming to you for the third segment this evening, discussing some of our all-time favorite iconic movie endings. Now, these could be whether they're iconic, or there's a great twist, or it was super surprising, anything like that. Anything of that nature is what we're going to be discussing. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I'm just joining you from as anyone who knows who's been listening for more than this year knows that sometimes I'm missing at this time of the calendar year, as it is the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I have been fortunate enough, and sometimes unfortunate enough, to see my favorite hockey team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, be in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And when they play on a podcast night, you gentlemen are gracious enough to pardon me from the show. So that is where I've been. But I trust that you guys have manned the ship well, and now I am here for segment number 3.
But why are you here, Nick?
Well, I'm here mostly because I'm in a happy mood.
Why?
Because the Leafs fucking won Game 6. We're taking it to a Game 7. We got victory shots here. I will be enjoying some of Wayne Gretzky's number 99 double cask whiskey.
And I'm doing some Cleveland bourbon.
Well, there you go. Bringing some of the Cleveland vibes to the 6.
That's right.
So here we go.
Excellent.
So cheers to you, gentlemen. And cheers to William Nylander specifically and the rest of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
There we go.
All right. So we're discussing, as I said, some of our iconic, and actually this is fitting because I'm a great tie-in, because tonight was an example of an iconic ending to a game. I shouldn't say an ending to a series, because we now have Game 7 on the horizon here. So the story is not written just yet, but I am potentially witnessing myself in the sports world an iconic ending to a series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So we're going to talk about movies tonight, though. We're going to talk about some of our favorite iconic movie endings.
Pissed.
Rick Tocchet, yeah, is that Rick Tocchet? Yes, Rick. That's spelled Tocchet. He probably is pissed.
Yeah.
He's a coach of the Canucks. That's a different thing. But yeah. Anyway, so were you guys keeping an eye on the game? Is that I assume why Rick Tocchet is on your TV? Nice.
Behind me right here.
Yeah, Dean said they just won. We probably will see. Maybe we'll see Nick show up.
I was
here.
hoping.
So there you have it. There you go.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
The glass shatters, and here I come.
That's right. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys of hockey have won. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. Yep.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. That is. I was trying to make a good tie-in, but it's just the sad truth. It is. I am a fan of both of those teams, and that is a very true statement. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
well, this will be the '90s Cowboys this year.
I like it. I like the vibes. I love it.
There you go. There you go.
I like it.
Fun fact, not that many of our listeners are hockey fans or anything like that, probably, but a gentleman who was a big hero for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 90s, Ty Domi, big enforcer, great guy. His son, Max Domi, is now playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm hoping that's going to bring us some good vibes.
That's fun.
It's pretty cool. He's been in the league for a few years, and he's been bouncing around to different teams, and now he's finally with the Leafs, and I feel like that can really, he stepped into the top line center role nicely in the absence of our Lord and Savior Austin Matthews. So feeling pretty good. But okay, enough about that. We're talking. Right. I'm joining this show now. We're on this show, and we're talking movie. After I've just climaxed movie twists, movie
when
epic
movies
movie
come
endings.
best.
That's right. So
Brian, do we have it correct?
Sure.
That's
all right.
I'm
Thank
pretty
you for
sure
having
that said that is what Brian said in the text that he sent us. It was like
sure. Mm-hmm.
Best end movie scenes to come to. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah, close enough.
Okay. All right. So Brian, you start us off.
I didn't
Be the
get that.
example.
Well, if that was the case, I would have definitely put Homeward Bound as my number one.
Oh, dude, when Shadow rolls up over that hill,
dude, I fucking lose it in my pants.
Just painting the ceiling like crazy.
Yep.
It's like a Jackson Pollock painting on the back of my fucking throat.
Mm-hmm. Mine is like Mac and Me. That's weird, isn't it?
In your own? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm very talented. Oh, Nick,
great aim for such a long distance.
Brian and I were out drinking before we started this.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Iconic movies with iconic endings. How about that? So my first one.
That's a good one.
Kill Bill 2. I'm going to start with that one. This is one of my favorite. Kill Bill 1 and 2 are one of my favorite things that Quentin Tarantino ever made. I just love these movies. Uma Thurman at the top of her game. Just the effects, everything, the beautiful. So many scenes are shot so beautifully. The martial arts, etc., etc. But it all comes to a climax when she faces off against Bill, the late David Carradine, and she gives him the completely, of course, crazy nuts, mythical exploding heart thing where she, hits him in the chest or whatever, and he stands up, straightens his jacket, walks away, and it's like when you walk 10 steps, on the 10th step, your heart explodes and you die. And that's exactly what happened. Collapsed, and then she rides off with her daughter. Happy ending of the movie, everything else here. But the whole end scene, the whole climax, just fucking fantastic. Love, love, love those movies. So Kill Bill 2 is
That's
one
good
on
ending.
my top 5. Absolutely.
Yep, that's good ending.
Yep. Dean.
Right. My number one.
Is that because he acts like an old man?
No, you said the Don Johnson joke. It's funny.
Oh,
yeah.
See, there's two Dons you're channeling right now.
Right?
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
your old man and your, pop culture old man.
We should get him on the show sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll reach out. We go
All
back.
right.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Mm-hmm.
All right. My number one.
Did you cut that shirt into a deeper V than it
No,
was
it's a
originally?
tank top. Look, it's us. Look at our
It just looked like it
asses.
was cut down even lower than was.
No, I'm
meant
just
to be.
fat, and I keep looking over, and it's just the way it falls.
I said earlier,
My-
Nick, it's a 10.
my
It's a
fat
10.
tits
It's a
just
10x.
squeeze.
It's a 10x. It's just how
We're
it fits.
we are a wardrobe malfunction waiting to happen over here.
Mhm.
Nice.
Just
You want to see nipple?
I
one
like
nip
it.
slip. Oh, it's
There-
happened.
Oh,
There you
what?
go.
Yep.
And
The ratings on YouTube just skyrocketed. Yeah. Brazil
I'm
ratings
glad
just increased.
I'm glad we've been fucking around here because, I can't read my handwriting for this one.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to go with my number 2. It's a Wonderful Life. Very wholesome. It is
good one.
iconic.
Yeah.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. And Jimmy Stewart, just with his beautiful fucking face. That's right. That's right. Just, it's terrific. The townspeople bringing in the money to save him after he spent years, essentially saving them throughout theirs. It's just a wholesome, beautiful ending to a movie. Love it.
Yes.
One of my favorite movies, hands down.
Sure.
I'm with you. And the book, was it Huck Finn he has? Is that what he gave him a copy of? That Clarence
Yes.
is reading?
Yes.
And the passage inside there, no man, what did he say? No man is poor who has friends, or something like that. So
Yeah.
something like that. But it's
No,
just
no
nice to-
man is poor if you swallow your friends.
There you go.
Okay.
It is
Yeah.
it's a very wholesome and nice message. The sad reality is life so rarely works out that way if you help other people. So in my experience, don't do that.
That's true. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But it's a nice thought. It is wholesome and a nice thought.
Gets me every time. There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna swipe an easy one. I'm gonna gobble up an easy one because none of you have said it yet, and you've each had a turn to go. Planet of the Apes is an iconic ending. I feel like it's kind of the one that eluded this conversation. It's kind of the one that brought this on.
Right.
Certainly, the big twist at the end of that is when Charlton Heston is on that beach and sees the Statue of Liberty half buried under sand. And you kind of come to that realization that they have traveled through time and they're in a different reality, and very cool. Go ahead.
What I don't know if a lot of people understand the ending. It is actually quite it's quite scientific if you think about it. If you go up into space and you spend so much time away from the center of the Earth as it spins, it's going to go faster than you do. So Charlton Heston's character went so far out into space that time kept going, but he didn't. So scientifically, it was actually pretty accurate. I mean, there's some flaws here and there.
Yeah.
But scientifically, if this Earth spins and the farther you get away from it, it will, everything will seem like you're to the person. It's Einstein's relativity idea, right?
Now, who is that?
Charlton Heston, he was an actor.
No.
Oh.
Einstein, is it?
Einstein.
Yeah.
He was a smart dude who loved saving money on insurance. He loves saving money on electric bikes and loved tattoos.
Absolutely.
And sometimes he talked about physics.
Absolutely.
He's a funny looking guy in our logo. Yeah.
Oh, that fella.
Interesting. That's the guy that told me about RPM Bike Shop. Our friends located in Carrollton, Ohio. And he told me, if I can impart one piece of wisdom to you, please pass this message along to others. So I would be remiss if I did not tell our listeners to check out our friends
Quite frankly, you'd be
in Carrollton, Ohio. RPM Bike Shop. If you don't believe me or Albert Einstein, you can go to their Facebook page and search RPM Bike Shop to see the wonderful products they have to offer you. Or you can go to their website, rpmbikeshop.com, or give them a call at 330-808-7792 today just to see what all of that Einstein fuss was about for yourself and see the fantastic products that they have to offer you today at RPM Bike Shop.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
right.
Professor Zeniel Dean. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Like Walter Matthau.
There's no need to run so far away when you can ride so far away on your own electric bike from RPM Bike Shop.
Yes. Right. Very good. Very good. Next one on my list here, guys. Am I next?
Sure.
You're next. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you
in 18 minutes.
Wow. The Thing. We talked about this movie on several occasions on this podcast here. So, John Carpenter's The Thing, Kurt Russell, to the very end of the movie, the two remaining survivors are there. They're going to freeze to death. Is one the thing, one not the thing, whatever, but they're going to sit there, relax, and kind of watch each other die. And you still don't know. That movie ends at a point where you don't really know for sure if the alien is in either guy or if it got out somehow, but the two remaining survivors are going to sit there and kind of watch each other sort of sit there and freeze to death and die just to be sure. That's it. Very cryptic ending of that movie, very fitting ending of that movie. Very, very good. So, The Thing made my list.
Nice.
All right. My next one is Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs, I don't even remember what year that was, late 90s. Mid to late 90s, but the scene of all the bad guys who just got done with the heist, pointing their guns at each other, and at the same time everybody shoots each other, and just everybody dies. Just you're not expecting it. You spent this whole time. You spent this whole time getting to know these characters and loving the characters, and then they do what is expected of criminals. They turn on each other and all shoot each other. It's a brilliant ending. So, Reservoir Dogs is my next list.
Very good.
Nice. Very good. Mine. I would be next then.
Yes, sir.
For my next submission, I will go with a very iconic ending. It's one that at the time was, I think, one of the first, certainly one of the biggest of this director's films, The Sixth Sense by M. Night Shyamalan. The whole thing of the I see dead people, and Bruce Willis is trying to help the boy figure this out, and then come to find that at the end, spoiler alert, he in fact is a dead person, and that is why the creepy child Haley Joel Osment can see him in the first place. So, to this day, it is the single most horrifying movie I've ever seen in my life. That child creeps the fuck out of me. It's only akin to AI, which he also was in, because that child is horrifying. But The Sixth Sense is on my list, and like I said, it was just an iconic movie ending. It was one that was spoofed many times, and just at the time, I don't know. Are you guys correct me if I'm wrong? Was that M. Night Shyamalan's? That was like his first big movie, right? Like that was kind of what got people.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, Signs came after that. I know that Signs was a big one, and The Village and The Lady in the Water, all those kind of followed. But I think Signs was Sixth Sense was his first really big hit. But Definitely a good movie. People there's different takes on his stuff. Yeah, like with the twist endings, he's kind of known for that. But that was the one that really caught people off guard and was a really popular movie, so I put that one on my list.
That was good. It was a brilliant setup to that ending, and you saw it coming. You saw it, but didn't see it. So
right.
I had no idea when I watched the movie the first time. I was like, "Wow!"
The movie.
I was like, it makes total sense when they replayed it.
The second time, you're like, "Fuck! How did I not get that?"
No, you're right. You're right. That's the point. It was so obvious the ending, but it wasn't obvious.
Right.
Yeah. So it was very, very good. Yeah. Well done. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. My turn.
I think I'm after. Are you after Nick or am I after Nick?
Nick just went. So,
I don't remember going before me.
I've got limited battery here, so I'm going to go with The Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects is one of those, the kind of whodunit, crime riddled movies, and then at the end you find out that the guy that's been telling the story as the Weasley, low life of the group, who's been kind of snitching the whole movie, telling the story, turns out to be the actual big bad boss, Kaiser Sose. That iconic scene where Kevin Spacey is limping along, and then it turns into Nick, no, where Kevin Spacey's limp turns into a full-blown just badass walk, because he was the mastermind and the guy that they've been looking for years, not just for this job, but for
Dean Harvey just called Kevin Spacey a badass on this podcast.
No,
I want people to understand that.
No, I'm talking about the character in the movie Usual Suspects, which is the next thing on my list.
All right, very good. Very good. All right, I'm going to give you Raiders.
Despicable.
That's right.
Well, it's Nick's turn, but you can jump ahead.
No, wait.
You're actually sleazier than someone who might hang out in Miami, Florida, if that's possible. I don't know how that makes you feel.
I think you reversed the order. That's perfectly okay. So I'm going to give you my next one.
Brian, this is what happens when you invite drunk people on your podcast. I don't know what to tell you.
That's it.
Oh, fucking which way's up and down. Fuck it.
Yep. Drunk people
Enjoy
with the
your victory, dickhead.
Chest exposed. Craziness. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Great ending of that movie. Yeah, I don't even mean the whole scene. It's at the very, very end where all the trouble to retrieve the Ark for the U.S. government, and Harrison Ford is fighting to put it in a museum, do something with it. And he says, the U.S. government's like, we have top men working on it. It's great. Top men. And they pan out the whole scene where they hammer it into the crate, label it, and just the vast warehouse that shows the old man is kind of pushing it down the cart and you wonder what in the hell is in all those crates and everything, and they just sort of file it away. It later, of course, made a reappearance in one of the sequels, the was it the Crystal Skull? It made a brief appearance there in that movie where someone broke open a crate. There was the Ark there and stuff like that. But anyways, just a brilliant ending.
Yeah.
All the work to get it, and it just fucking put it away, never to be seen again in the U.S. government. Never tap into it, never really research it, and that's it. Brilliant. Nick?
Brilliant. Okay, I gave you guys chances. This is my third go around. You guys have each had 3 chances to mention it, and Empire Strikes
Debbie
Back.
does Dallas.
Come on, Empire Strikes Back is an incredibly
Interesting.
potentially the most iconic twist ending
That's true.
of any movie ever.
You're right.
That's
The
a
big
good one.
reveal. Did you either of you have it? You've written down
No.
or anything? No.
Jesus,
not.
you're right.
Really?
You
It's
win.
blatantly
Nope.
up. Both that and Planet of the
Jesus.
Apes, I was like, these are the ones all 3 of us will have. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back, man. The I'm your father, like the big
Yeah.
reveal in Star Wars. I would
Walking
again,
away
I would
with
argue
his
it's the most
hand.
iconic twist ending in any film ever. It's certainly the most,
Good call.
pop culture relevant one, and certainly relevant to the show. But obviously, you go through this story with Luke Skywalker and the evil Empire and Darth Vader, the big villain, only to find out that who he's fighting against is actually his father, who he had previously known as a Jedi Knight who was dead, and turns out he's still alive, and he is the very menace that he is fighting against. So Empire Strikes Back's got to be like
Good
the
call.
one,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Way up there, and it was, as I said before on this podcast, arguably one of the greatest cliffhanger endings
Right.
ever.
Oh, for
Because they
sure.
really-
One of your main characters is actively like his life and future in
World
this
is
in this
just
franchise is in
Turned
jeopardy.
upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as a me living as a kid through it, where I'm in 6th grade and that movie ended, I had to wait 3 fucking years. Think about that. 3 years to understand what the fuck
That's
happened to Han Solo. What happened? You
What
don't
am I
even
going to do
fucking
till then?
know.
I guess
It's-
I'll just
it's-
jerk off like crazy. I don't know.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, well, sure.
From 6th grade, 8th grade, who knows?
It was nutty. Yeah. I have no women in 6th
Yeah.
grade,
You.
right?
You.
No women in 9th grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was sort of that sort of was
It's
the
like
same.
your sexual
Yeah.
peak was also frozen in carbonite. Like there was
Right.
you're just stranded there. Like nothing, no
didn't-
movement.
That's good.
He didn't get
That's
to
it.
have sex until
Yeah.
like the 378th grade.
No, but seriously, any movie that was set up like that, it was like there's not many movies where it ended where it's like, what the fuck? And you had to wait
Right.
years to find
But-
out what happened.
Also, another thing you can say about it is like every other movie after that, every other movie like sequels or whatever is compared to that's the Empire Strikes Back part of this story.
That's brilliant.
People look at that as a call to the story arc.
That's right. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
So yeah, Empire Strikes Back.
Very good, Dick.
George
Very
was a
good.
billionaire for no reason.
I
Yep,
can't
go ahead.
believe neither one of you had that written down.
I'm
I
actually
didn't.
embarrassed. I'm
You
quite
should
embarrassed
be.
for
This
Brian.
very podcast was built on a Star Wars foundation. How actually
I
fucking dare you?
know. All right, my turn, or whose
yep.
turn is it?
Go
All
ahead,
right.
I think I decided it's your turn. Dean's
Good,
turn.
thank you. All right. Well, again, one of these is I would assume you guys would have chosen also. Marvel's Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, sure.
That whole last battle scene,
Man. Phenomenal.
multiplied with the funeral of Tony Stark at the end.
Yeah.
All of that is just out of whatever 10 15-year generation that you see now is one of the most iconic endings in that period.
Yeah.
From uh, uh, from Captain America being able to wield Mjolnir,
Mm-hmm.
in battle, to, well, shit, just when he thought it was the end, and like all the, ring portals open up and all, his friends come out, or the Avengers, what do you want to call them? Just everything about it is just iconic and amazing, and it's just terrific. So
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame is my next one.
Yeah,
Very
that was
good.
one of the funnest experiences in a theater.
Yes,
I remember, because
the
it was like
cheers.
the cheers of people, and you were perfectly fine that people were cheering in a theater. It was just like it was a collective energy and excitement for how all that played out. And you're right, and you're right. The funeral scene that they've talked about, that was all legit. That was all. Everyone was there, and just the coordination to get that many big name actors in the same room at the same time to shoot that live, shoot that as an actual scene was very, very difficult to do in itself, with schedules and all that stuff. So yeah, just a great.
And furthermore,
great
to keep it quiet, I mean, as far as in today's age,
really,
with spoilers and the internet, like everything you could possibly know, like, to actually feel surprised to see like a character or something is impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't seen Nick cheer that much in a movie theater than probably Schindler's List. It was impressive.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, to see that many people all in one place, and then, you understand.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
We don't have to go.
Logistics was great.
You're fine. Yeah.
All right, I've talked about this movie on various episodes for various reasons, including recently. But I'm going to give it to you, the Night of the Living Dead, the original George Romero Night of the Living Dead. The ending of this movie was so shocking, to where the group of people live through hell throughout the entire movie, and the hero is like a black dude that just comes out. And in that era, again, this is 1968, the fact that you have a hero that's a black man in the movie to begin with was different at the time period. But he manages to live through all the hell, including everyone in the house he's there, all the died, fights off the zombies, all the hell. And then the next morning, like all the local posse coming down, the humans are, cleaning out the zombies and so forth. And the guy sees somebody moving in the window and shoots him, kills him, grabs the body, throws him on the fire. Movie ends. It's like, what in the fuck? But it also makes you wonder. It's a whole other dynamic of that ending, where did the guy that shoot him see he was a black guy and just shoot him? Did he just think he was a zombie? Never know. They never say.
What did you think, Brian? What was your outtake of it?
My initial reaction was they didn't know that it was a black guy. It was something moving in the window, and he was shot and killed. I didn't put the race thing into it.
That's immediately what I thought it was.
That's part of the discussion with that movie. It was just the abrupt ending where the guy lived through. I took it to where here's a guy lived through fucking hell. He made it, and he got killed anyway because people aren't fucking paying attention, and they're just so quick. Humans want to just kill.
Yeah.
Right, and not pay attention if somebody's actually a survivor or not. The fact that people get to just kill things freely was just creating so much chaos with the zombies and the humans becoming the most, the evil part of people.
Sure.
Right, and just threw them in the fucking fire. It ended abruptly, bam, and that was just such a brilliant ending to that. And usually a zombie movie, there's some closure where people get away. There's some semblance of a quote unquote happy ending or so forth. That movie started with tragedy and ended with tragedy so suddenly and abruptly. It was like, wow, just brilliant. George Romero again, brilliant.
If
Go ahead,
you would
sorry.
have done that movie which they did do it later in years,
Great remake, though. It
scene
was a
for
great
scene
remake. Different take on it, but great. Yep, go ahead.
If you would have done that in that, in say, I'm just throwing out a year, 2004 for the first time, and the ending that it did, you're like, oh wow, that's a crazy ending, very cool. But knowing what the time period was like and what the director, his stance and his, outlook, I knew that before I watched it. I was a teenager. I didn't watch it, in my youth. I watched it as a teenager and understood, what the 60s meant, not only to, to film, but pop culture. And I understood, and I got a way different point of view of how that movie ended.
Sure. Part of the point.
Yep.
Good. Excellent. All right.
It's interesting. That's like a very. I mean, I'm not even making a joke or anything. Like that's very interesting. Like how you can, like you said, that's how the movie was intended. How two people can see it and think two different things about it, and have two different points of view and total different perspectives. Very cool.
Yep. Very good. Nick, I think you're up.
Yeah. Have either of you seen the film Mystic River?
Yes.
Sean Penn, Kevin Bacon, Tim Robbins. Fantastic fucking movie. It's probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Sean Penn is my very favorite actor of all time, and this might be my favorite movie that he was in. Essentially, to take you through a brief synopsis, 3 friends growing up, which are the 3 that I rattled off there. They're childhood friends. Something traumatic happens to one of them. I don't want to spoil anything. Brian, have you seen Mystic River?
Man, it's been years, maybe. I don't remember.
I strongly recommend you watch it. Not only is it an incredible twist or surprise ending, but the acting. Like I said, the guys that I just named off, incredible movie, incredible acting. Just a lot of instances of raw emotion and just great acting in that movie. Essentially, something happens traumatic to Tim Robbins' character in the film, and these kids all kind of split their separate ways, and then it essentially all their paths lead together at the end. And I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess, to like someone who hasn't. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a very surprise ending. It's really well written, the way that it kind of takes you down a path thinking that you know which way it's going. It leads you down a certain type of train of thought that you think how you know it's going to end, and then it kind of intertwines them all again at the end, right? Like as they're adults in their adult lives, it brings them all back together, and I just absolutely love that movie. So Mystic River is on my list as well.
Very good.
Excellent. Dean?
All right, my final movie of my list is my favorite. I saved the best for last because, to me, some of the best inspirational endings are sports movies, right?
What sports movie was Kevin Spacey in?
No. This one is Tom Berenger.
Passion of the Christ.
Nope. This one, my top favorite ending of a movie is Major League from 1989.
Very good. Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Corbin Burnson, all of these guys come together in one of the greatest epic sports movies ever to be made, but the Cleveland Indians winning, I get at least the American League pennant. It was, right. Mm-hmm.
The ending with Tom Berenger at the plate, pointing to the stands like Babe Ruth and bunting, and it's just amazing. The whole sequence is just spine chilling. I don't care if you're an Indians fan or not.
Mm-hmm.
No one's an Indians fan anymore. People are Guardians
That's true.
fans.
Guardians fan.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if you're a fan of Cleveland or not, it is just an amazing. Just you get goosebumps. Or at least I do every time I watch it. So, Major League is my number one.
There you go.
Very good. Excellent. Well, Nick, I had to overlap Planet of the Apes. I'll give you
Okay.
It wasn't my. I will swap out one of my honorable mentions here. I'm going to give you. I haven't seen this movie in a long time here, but the ending I thought was extremely well done. The Truman Show, Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah.
The whole movie is, he learns he's in a reality show. He doesn't realize it. And he realizes he is, and just it's a brilliant ending of a movie. Goes out in the boat, as we know. He hits the end exit, which happens to be the sunset. Opens the door, turns around, takes a bow, steps out, closes the door. End the movie. Fantastic. Just a great ending of a movie in general. So Truman Show, Jim Carrey, fantastic, brilliantly written,
fucking tastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yep. Nick.
All right. For my final, once again, can't believe nobody picked up on this one. One of my favorite movies of all time, Jingle All the Way. What an epic conclusion to Jingle All the Way. Not only does he go through this entire day seeking a Turbo Man, but at the end of it all, he ends up being Turbo Man, much to his own surprise. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Howard Langston, is put into a Turbo Man costume and ends up being able to gift a Turbo Man doll to his own son, in which he has been seeking all day long, and none other than Turbo Man's outfit. It is the twist of all twists. It's so many mind fucks in one scene you can't even really comprehend. It truly is the ultimate twist. So, Jingle All the Way. Arnold Schwarzenegger becoming Turbo Man in the Winter Festival Parade, the Wintertainment Parade, is quite honestly the most epic, I would have to say, of all epic endings. And I hear no disagreements, so I know everyone agrees. So, that probably wins the day. But nevertheless, that is my final pick.
Any honorable mentions?
I do have an honorable mention, yeah.
Go ahead, Nick, keep it going.
Yeah, my honorable mentions, I also had Inception written down. That was a really incredible ending as well. What was that, 2010, 11, something like that? Leonardo DiCaprio, where, it's just, it really fucks with your mind. It was almost like a Matrix kind of thing, where like the further you get into it, the more you understand it, and the dream sequences, and at the end of it all, it's just kind of, it really is kind of a dream sequence. So Inception I also had written down as well, but it didn't make my top 5. Also, obviously it didn't beat out Jingle All the Way, so what else could? So Brian, honorable mentions?
A couple here. Rocky, the original, just a brilliant ending. Lost a fight, but had a personal triumph. Just beautifully shot, fantastic. I also had It's a Wonderful Life. We talked about that earlier. Psycho, Nick, I know one of your favorite movies as well. Just a brilliant scene where you hear his mother talking in a cell, and it turns out Norman Bates is just there by himself. Just a creepy ending. The look on his face, just fabulous. Just brilliant acting and directing by Hitchcock. Shawshank Redemption, arguably one of the happiest endings of any film at all. Just the whole scene when they reunited on the beach, followed it. Just beautiful, the hell that these two men lived through, only to see it finally end perfectly together on the beach. Planes, trains, automobiles. I watch this movie every Thanksgiving. Just it's as a touching ending of that movie to build up where you realize that John Candy's wife has been dead the whole time. You kind of see it maybe coming a little bit, but you don't want to believe it. But two men coming together that in normal or circumstances would not have at Major League. Dean as well. Christmas Vacation. I think it's a great ending of that movie with just Clark Griswold wins. Beautiful moment with his family. Gets me every year. Yep. Love it. And I'm going to give you the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original movie. Just the whole scene where the final girl gets away in the back of the pickup truck, driving away, and Leatherface chasing after the truck, sawing the back of it for a minute, and the truck pulls away, and she's laughing hysterically, and he's just out there just dancing in the middle of the road with the saw.
Yeah,
just a
good one.
Bizarre movie, but just a great way to end such a strange movie and so well acted. So that's it. Dean?
All right, I only have one. Going through all of them. My honorable mention is The Shining.
So good. Yeah. Good.
Very cool. How they brought it up where like he'd always been there, and then just
why do you sound different?
There, like all of his other successors. Just frozen in this. I mean, at the first glance, it's kind of silly of him just being, frozen, in the maze, but it's fitting. He's there forever, just like all of his, predecessors. So The Shining is my
excellent.
Nice.
Well, gentlemen, like so many brilliant endings, there's so many spectacular movies. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the brilliant ending of this episode has now arrived. So, Nick, will you please bring us out, sir, in however way you wish?
Well,
but it should be brilliant and thought-provoking, and make our viewers in Brazil remember it, and listeners in Brazil remember it, please. Thank you.
Wow. Well, for the people in Brazil and all over the world, I must tell you to follow us on all your favorite social media accounts. And rather than list them all off to you, I would tell you to go to our Linktree. And for that, you just simply go to Google and type in Convincing Idiots, Linktree, LINKTREE, and there you will find all of your favorite social media platforms in which you can follow us, like, subscribe, rate, review, so on and so forth. There are also links to our merch store, as I would have said off the top had I been here. You can also find that and so much more on our website, and that is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. So, for this epic ending to Convincing Idiots, I am Millennial Nick.
I'm the Zennial Dean.
Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you to come back next week and see if perhaps we can offer you one and our first epic episode of Convincing Idiots?
Sure.
Some of us are drunk. Hey there, if you like that video, or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you back here.
Sure.
Right now, I feel like if Don Johnson and Walter Matthau had a kid, that'd be you.
That is the greatest compliment I've ever. Why are we not doing the show? Let's.